Hello everyone, I am Shubhangi Pawar, Assistant Professor from Sinhagad College of Pharmacy. Today's our topic is to understanding the concept and procedure of hydrolytic resistance test for glass containers. So in today's video, learner can be able to learn the objectives like we will discuss the definitions of packaging, functions, types of packaging, types of packaging materials, then glass packaging and their evaluation test, that is the hydrolytic resistance test. So first we will see the definition. So what is the meaning of a packaging? Packaging is the science, art and technology of enclosing or protecting the products for distribution, storage, sale and use. So packaging is nothing but the science and art. Suppose you have prepared the tablet or you have prepared the unit dosage form or liquid dosage form or semi-solid dosage form, then you have to sell into the market. For that you doesn't take the single or you doesn't take the unit dosage form directly into the market. For that you will require the protection to protect that product. For that we will require the containers. Okay, so that is nothing but the packaging. So in this diagram you can see here that is the tablet, and we will cover by using the paper box or the cardboard box, and it is also useful for their storage purpose or their for their distribution and sale purpose. It is packaging is also called as a process of a designing. So it is also called as the activity of a designing and producing the container for a product. So we can say that there are different types of functions of a packaging are involved, that is the protection and preservation. Then it gives the product information also. It also promote the corporate identity. It forms a part of a sales promotion for the according to the consumer point of view, and it adds the appeals to the product, that is the for it also provides the attractiveness. So there are mainly three types of packaging. So first one is the primary. So what is the primary packaging? It is direct contact with the product and it maintains the product quality. So in primary packaging we can use the ampoules or vials, strips and blisters. Then second type, that is the secondary packaging. So it contains the product and primary pack presentation or protection. So it protects the primary packaging, that is called as the secondary packaging. In that we can use the paper boxes or cardboard boxes or cardboard cartoons. And then next type that is the tertiary packaging. So tertiary packaging, it is useful for the transport purpose or for the bulk handling. So in that we can easily we can use in that is the edge protector or the barrel container. So here we can say see that is the how this is the types of packaging. So if you have prepared the preparation, that is the liquid dosage form, then for that you will require the container. So here is the primary packaging. So in primary packaging we have selected the glass container. For that glass container you will require the covering, or for the protection of this glass container you will require the boxes. So we can cover into the by using the secondary packaging, and after that for the transport purpose we will convert this into the tertiary packaging. Then there are mainly four types of packaging materials, that is the glass, plastic, rubber and closure. In our today's video we will focus mainly on the glass packaging material. So glass packaging. So what is the glass containers? So glass containers are among the primary packaging material that has found use in the pharmaceutical industries. So here glass containers are among the primary packaging. So primary packaging, which means if you have prepared a liquid dosage form or semi-solid dosage form, so it is made of for that you will require the glass container. So you can say that is the perfume it is also made up of glass containers. Then a large number of pharmaceutical formulations have packaged the using glass containers. That's why we can say that it is the first choice of a container. And glass is an inorganic material, that is it is mostly silicates or mixture of materials which when heated up and then cooled solidifies without the crystallization. Here in this diagram you can see the composition of a glass. So green color indicates the silicon dioxide which is in maximum quantity amount, that is the 70 to 74%. Then red color indicates the sodium carbonate, that is the 12 to 16%. Then calcium carbonate, that is the 5 to 11%. Purple color indicates. Then Blue color indicates the magnesium oxide, almost 1 to 3%. Then orange color indicates the aluminum oxide, that is 1 to 3%, and black color indicates that is the others 1%, that is it may be a zinc or barium or potassium and magnesium. So this is the composition of a glass. Then there are namely 4 types of a glass. So first type, that is the type 1, also known as the highly resistance borosilicate glass. So this glass contains almost 80% of a silica and 10% of boric oxide, along with the small amount of a sodium oxide and aluminum oxide. So it is chemically inert and possesses high hydrolytic resistance due to the presence of a boric oxide. And this type 1 glass is mainly useful for the or suitable for the packaging material, which are useful for most preparations, whether it may be a parenteral or non-parenteral, and they can use to contain the strong acid and alkali. Then second type, that is the type 2. It is also called as a treated soda lime glass, or it is also a synonym, that is the soda lime silica glass or dealkalized soda lime glass. So this is the modified type of a type 3 glass container with high hydrolytic resistance. So we can say that type 2 glass, it is the modified type of a type 3 glass container with high hydrolytic resistance, which resulting from container treatment of the inner surface of a type 3 glass with the sulfur. And it is specifically useful for the most acidic and neutral aqueous preparations for parenteral and non-parenteral. Then third type, that is the type 3. It is also called as a regular soda lime glass and also called as a untreated soda lime glass. So with the average chemical resistance, and it is composed of a 75% silica, 15% sodium oxide, 10% calcium oxide, and small amount of aluminum oxide, magnesium oxide, and potassium oxide. And this type 3 glass is particularly useful for the packaging material of parenteral products or the powders, which are used for the for parenteral use only. And this type of the next type, that is the type 4, also called as a non-parenteral and also called as the general purpose soda lime glass. So this type 4 is specifically useful for the non-parenteral preparations, and it is used in the oral dosage forms or topical products, and useful in the aerosols also. So this is the table, or this is the chart, so you can overview these glasses. So in this chart you can see here, that is the type 1. It is also called as a highly resistant borosilicate glass and useful for the buffer and unbuffer aqueous solutions. Then type 2 we had studied, that is it is also called as the treated soda lime glass, and it is useful for the buffer aqueous solutions with a pH below 7 and dry powders. Type 3 glass, it is also called as a soda lime glass, and it is particularly useful for the dry powders and oleaginous solutions, but not for the aqueous preparations. And type 4 non-parenteral, it is particularly useful for the non-parenteral purpose. So the aim of our today's practical is to perform the pharmaceutical evaluation of a glass containers used for injectables. So you have to evaluate the glass containers. So for that, Indian Pharmacopoeia recommends the hydrolytic resistance test. So this, what is the significance of this hydrolytic resistance test? So it is directly related to the stability of a pharmaceutical packed in it. So the reason behind the high hydrolytic resistance of any glass, it may be surface treatment or it may be a composition. So Indian Pharmacopoeia mainly recommends the 2 types of hydrolytic resistance test for glass containers, that is the test 1 and test 2. So what are these tests? We will study it in detail. So if our aim is to distinguish the type 3 glass from type 1 and type 2, then you have to perform the test 1. And if our aim is the reason of a high hydrolytic resistance due to the surface treatment or composition of a glass, then you have to perform both tests, that is the test 1 and test 2. So hydrolytic resistance test 1, it involves 3 stages. First stage, that is the cleaning procedure, second stage autoclaving, and third stage, that is the titration. So before we will start, for that we have to select the containers. So how to select the containers? Okay, so for that purpose you can use ampoules or vials, but how you can select the container? So if the nominal capacity of a container is up to 3 ml, then you will require the 20 containers, and you have to use the volume for test solution for titration, which is the 25 ml. If the nominal capacity is 5 or less, then you have to select the 10 container and you have to titrate with test solution with 50 ml. Then if the nominal capacity of a container is 6 to 30, then you have to select 5 containers and 50 ml of a test solution you have to use for titration. And if the nominal capacity of a container is more than 30, then you have to select at least 3 containers, and the volume of a test solution to be used for titration is 100 ml. Okay, so this is the criteria for the selection of a container. So first step, that is the first stage, that is the cleaning procedure. So when you will perform the cleaning procedure, you have to remember that it should not contain less than 20 or not more than 25 minutes. So firstly you have to rinse each container with freshly prepared distilled water and allow to drain, and by using this cleaning procedure we can remove the dust from the container. Then you have to empty them and you have to determine the average overflow volume. Then in this cleaning procedure, if you have used the ampoules for the practical, then how to clean that ampoule. So you have to heat close ampoules on a water bath or in an oven at about 50 degrees Celsius then you have to fill ampoules with freshly prepared distilled water and seal the ampoule by fusion. And if you have using the bottles or wires, then you have to fill the 90% of calculated overflow volume and cover them with borosilicate glass dishes or aluminum foil previously rinsed with the distilled water. So how to calculate that 90% of calculated overflow volume, I will show you in our next video. Then second stage, that is the autoclaving. So place the containers in autoclave containing water. Close the autoclave, displace the air by passage of a steam for 10 minutes, and then you have to maintain the temperature of 121 degrees Celsius for a 60 minutes. Then third stage, that is the titration. So remove the containers from autoclave and cool under running tap water. Carry out titration within 1 hour of removing the contents from container. Then you have to measure the volume of a test solution which is specified in table second. So for that you have to refer that table. Then you have to take the 2 conical flasks, one for the taste solution and one for the blank solution. In taste solution you have to add the taste sample along with the 0.15 ml of a methyl red solution, which is act as the indicator, and 15 and you have to titrate against the 0.01 molar HCl, and you have to perform same with the blank sample also, and you have to calculate the amount of a hydrochloric acid consumed between the taste and blank. Then taste 2, how to perform the taste 2. So you have to rinse the containers twice with the water and you have to fill completely with 4% volume by volume solution of a hydrofluoric acid and allow to stand at room temperature for 10 minutes. You have to empty container and rinse 5 times with water, and you have to do rest procedure same as which are mentioned in the test 1. And here is the acceptance criteria is given for the result. So if the capacity of a container corresponding to 19% of average overflow volume which are mentioned here, and volume of 0.01 molar HCl per 100 ml, then type 1 and 2 and type 3, the ranges are given here. So this is the acceptance criteria is also mentioned in the Indian Pharmacopoeia. So you can use this acceptance criteria for the result or for the observation. Thank you.